as I had said, that very excited to be having the opportunity to make a lot of corrections with the team, which is great after a win. So energy's high, the players are positive, and we got a chance to get some plays corrected and tactically corrected. Very proud of the players and the way that they play, the energy they play with, the passion, the intensity, the perseverance. What we're getting now, which is new to our culture, is great leadership from seniors and older players and veteran players. They're very demonstrative on the sideline and in the all-ups and in the huddle-ups and halftime. It's very positive and appropriate. So it's an easy group to follow. There's not a lot of seniors, but there's a strong group of seniors. That piece was very evident again during the course of the game. So really proud of the way that the players played, the way they play the plays for the most part as it relates to toughness and strain and effort and movement. And then just some small fundamentals and tactical things to clean up. So, and we got a chance to do that after a win. So it's very exciting. And moving forward into this game week, another great opponent. Regional, exciting regional game. That's fun. I think for everyone, not only just both teams, but the supporters of both programs. I think it's a fun, interesting matchup. So we're excited about that. We're excited to get into the game week. Questions?
Since the beginning of last year, you've had 10 games that have been decided by 8 points or less. What's that a function of?
I think that our program is built in a way to not really, and it happens, but basically in a way to keep the points down. So just in general, the overall point totals are down with how the whole program operates. So because there's less overall points, there typically would be less disparity. So, the analogy I would draw would be kind of like a hockey game or a soccer game. They're all decided by a goal or one goal or 2 goals. So when the points are down, so we're kind of built that way, just in general. And then we haven't quite gotten the production on offense that we're looking for. And that's just a fact. So I can't, it, I can't hide from it. Everybody watching the games knows it. We're all hands on deck there and supportive of that unit. And that's probably the main reason why these games, in a lot of instances, are that as many as there are so close as they are. So,
Bob, on that offense, looking at the stats, it may not look like the offensive staff tried to open it up, but looking at the play calling over the first 7 drives, 28 plays, 22 out of shotgun, 18 with 3 wide, 20 pass plays called, but only 9 pass attempts. How can you potentially improve Bryant's feel in the pocket to help him maybe scan the field more instead of taking off? And then second question on that, given that with the 3 wide formations, Alec was lined up a little outside, meaning only 5 blockers with the line, plus a running back maybe chipping a blitzing linebacker, how did they perform given that it was more open offensive play calling?
Yeah, I felt like, to answer your first question, that Bryant, as he just continues to play, and I thought he played a real nice game. I don't have any real issues other than the ball that he errantly threw in the high red zone. We're in scoring range. We should have come away with at least 3 points there, and to have us not have the opportunity there is a critical error for him. But there wasn't a whole bunch of other things that we were real disappointed in. As I've said, he's inclined to run and scramble to run. I don't want to coach that out of him. So we just keep showing him the throws that where he slid and maintained great pocket awareness and delivered the ball down the field, and then moments where he probably could have. So coaching it that way. Tactically moving forward, you know, you get down by a few scores, you have to play a particular way. It's not necessarily the way that we want to play. So moving forward, we just got to let the game unfold the way it unfolds as it relates to the tight ends. We want them to play, and as many of them to play as much as possible. They're excellent players, all of them, and they can attach or detach. So I've always said that, and I like a lot of tight ends, and I like to put them in different, sets and formations. So we haven't really said anything different than that for the last 3 years. So just, need to do a better job in our core offense of protecting and read progression for Brian and our blocking in general.
What improvements did you see in your defense from the Navy game to last week?
I thought that the defense played well in the Navy game. They had a few early passes that set up scores, but other than that, they were on their word. It's a totally different preparation with different depth and different personnel to play Navy. So to transition from triple option back to conventional defensive football is a challenge. And I thought that they did that for the most part well. Down the stretch there, it was disappointing. We had those 3 explosive plays in that final drive. That moment shouldn't have been that interesting. So, and that's just player, specifically a player trying hard, but brand new player playing in games in a critical situation and not performing, and not for any reason other than it just needs game seasoning and game maturity. So.
On that, what happened on that play, the long pass down the middle on that final drive, and how would you assess Anthony Watkins and Bryson McAllister's play to this point in the year?
The long pass was a fundamental coverage bust by a brand new player, and I'm not disappointed in either of those players. I wish they were more seasoned, but it's of no fault of theirs. They're new players, and we knew it was going to be a work in progress from the very beginning at that position, and that has proven to be correct. But each week they get better and better, and they look each week more comfortable and more settled. Fortunately, the errors that are going to come up here and there with new players, as they always do, fortunately did not cost us the game in game 3, and obviously we'll work to protect them as much as we can and not expose them.
Syracuse ran 105 plays last week, and they're averaging almost 95 games. The challenge of the defense when they're trying to snap as many plays as possible in 4 quarters.
Heads. There was actually, I think, 112 plays lined up, So, in one instance, I believe, at the end of the play, the 40-second clock started, and 6 seconds later, they snapped there was 34 seconds still on the clock so, to think you can get a playoff in 6 seconds from one play, it was a downfield passing. So, they're operating at a very, very fast rate and clip, and if the rules allow for it and we keep moving, officiating in a way that facilitates it, then it's just going to continue. It's like defending 2 games.
Bob, you mentioned playing from behind makes you need to make tweaks that you don't necessarily want to make to the offense. But haven't you also seen some of your better drives come when the clock in the situation is an issue when you're behind?
Yeah, there's been moments of that. I mean, tactically, we'll do what we do.
Markel had a pretty good game, fumble aside. Did you guys do anything to kind of get him kind of going? Or
Other than the emphasis of
balance line a little bit here and there, but
just the emphasis of being sure he gets his touches. You got to get Markel the ball. You've got to get Markel the ball. And, you know, we were talking about it. You know, somebody asked about kickoff return. You know, if he's going to touch the ball 13 times, then he needs to do all the kickoff returns. You know, because that's not enough. He needs the ball more than that. You know, I'd like to think he's got, you know, a pretty overwhelming role on offense, either running it or catching it. And then you can manage, you know, his season for him in other areas, like in the special teams. But no, we got to just keep giving him the ball, finding ways to get Markel the ball as a special player.
What's the status on all your injured left guards, and then how do you think that's
Yeah, I
shake
don't,
out this week?
it's all day to day. It's all day to day. And it seems like a national trend that nobody's really, I mean, I'm looking at, now I got 2 weeks in a row, I'm looking at the same depth chart released in preseason camp. So, I mean, I'm not sure what everybody's doing, I'm really not. So, I don't know why we're operating any different than anyone else is. So,
Is that measure you think good to go this week?
yeah, I mean, day to day.
Coach, are you a superstitious guy when you see those red pants again this weekend?
No, no. I'm not a superstitious person. I thought maybe they add a little bit to playing fast. It worked for 2 phases and not the third, and or a little bit of jump start at the end. No, that's a funny question. No superstitious there. It just seemed like it'd be okay.
But will we see him again?
Oh yeah, I mean whatever the equipment staff puts in my locker, I'll put on. It's all good. We have a great, and that's a great opportunity to give them kudos. Jordan Hunt and his staff do a great job for our players and staff, coaches and essential staff in serving the athletes. They really do a nice job fitting the players. We have very few issues with helmets and cleats and things that plague teams in game. Very few instances of that, and the team always looks sharp, and the locker rooms are clean and tidy, and they just do a wonderful job.
Since they're averaging a snap every 28 seconds, you said one was 6 seconds. But I mean, how do you go about recreating that with the scout team?
It's virtually impossible. It's impossible, actually, because they don't know the play.
Yeah.
So the look team has to look at the play and then try to execute the play. So there's that moment of them looking at the play. And in the moment of them looking at the play is where you lose all the time. So if they don't know the play, so you can think outside the box and maybe give them a few plays. You can maybe create some core plays that become, you know, hand signals like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where you could say play 1 and they know it to be this, or play 2 and they know it to be, so then they can go faster without looking at the card, try to see if they can memorize a few offensive and or defensive looks, and then we need to articulate good on good, even if it's just to service the defense.
Does that make a real shock to the system for the defense, like especially in the first quarter?
It can be, yeah, it can be.
They got a lead on USF last week.
Yeah, 17 zip, I think. It can be. It can be. I believe that we're built physically and systematically well suited for it, but it's still very, very challenging.
Does that pace make it imperative that you get more production out of your subs
because they might have to spell the starters who might be tired.
See, that's the problem. There's
How do you get them in?
they're going so fast, you can't even, that's where the danger comes in, that you've heard some head coaches out there nationally talking about. The player's so spectacularly fatigued, and you can't get him out. I mean, he could fall on the ground and then have to stop play. If he's at that level, he could go down and stay down. If he's at that level of exhaustion. But that's the problem. You'd like to be able to do that. You'd like to be able to put somebody in the game because the player is totally taxed. But you can't even get the players in the game, and that's the real problem. So it becomes a dangerous situation for the defensive players.
Bob, is there anything the defense can do to slow down the offensive pace?
There isn't. There is not. They're in total charge of how fast they go. And with the addition of the eighth, and the conversation about adding the official was really was talked about as, hey, this isn't going to speed up play. And I remember being in the meeting and saying, how is this not going to speed up play? You have a person right there. Now, mechanically, their job is to get this ball down. And sure enough, it sped up play, and here we go. And now we have even more plays than we've ever had. No, there's nothing tactically that the defense can do within the rules, or to me, within how you operate. I mean, I wouldn't counsel a defensive player to lay on the ground. I wouldn't counsel a defensive player to, it doesn't feel right for our program and our mission and our culture to ever talk about that or teach that. I think you can, I definitely seen people do that, and that stops play. That stops play.
I just wondered if there were looks you could give them where they would have to make changes on plays they called, which might slow it down.
No, I think what happens, Joe, is and this is to the defensive credit a little bit, or not credit, to the defense's benefit, is a better way to say it. As fast as they're going, they can't be real elaborate either. Definitely can't do a whole bunch. They do some shift trades and motions to create confusion. The confusion is the tempo. So there's some vanilla elements to what they're forced and relegated to do because they're moving fast also. So there's not a whole bunch of control the defense has as it relates to the tempo and pace of play.
Now, Syracuse does sub out. The officials have to hold up until you guys are allowed to sub in and match, right?
They will, when a substitution happens, they will give an iron cross on the sideline to the spotter to have him stand over the ball until he deems it's appropriate, and that both teams have had a chance to substitute their players, but they have to substitute to do that.
Right.
What are your thoughts on Syracuse's receivers?
Excellent, really talented, internationally ranked, and statistically, some of the most productive players in the country right now at their positions. Hard to defend. A couple of really size-speed combo players, and then a couple of really quick, fast guys. And they do a good job of getting the ball with the appropriate play selection to those guys. They have a nice attack, a race for space attack, and then also a vertical attack down the field. So that's an impressive group.
You've got some experience there with Jamon and Jamar and John Green. How much of a challenge is it going to be for them to try to match up with those guys?
A great challenge. And just the overall game in general and the style of play. It'll be a busy day. For the four defensive backs.
One of your own receivers, coming into the season, what did you think would be key for Urgent to just make the next step? And and contributing, and how has he come along in your eyes?
Yeah, honestly, it's just reps. I didn't really, because he's a young guy, but other than that, he's one of the more professional guys in his preparation. He's got a good skill set, talented. Again, he's a size speed player, and as a young player. So I was just excited to watch him start to play. The blocking is always something that, as a young player, you want to catch the ball, you want to catch touchdowns, you want to run crisp routes. So you work on that a lot, releases and finishing plays with, catches. And the craft of blocking is lost on some younger players, but he's done a really nice job of that in his development in the early season. Taking the blocking role is very important and really doing a nice job on the perimeters. He's already made in 3 games just some real nice key blocks that have created some opportunities out there for the ball carriers.
Bob, you've got both Boston College and Syracuse on the schedule this year. As these conferences become more nationwide, how important is it for you to keep these Northeast rivalries going?
I mean, I'm not sure, as it relates to rivalry, you guys have a much better perspective of that than I do here. I think it's an exciting matchup with local, teams and universities. So I think that's pretty cool, and I think and I'm hopeful that it is a trend that would continue. I think it's really, really a good thing and an exciting thing.
You say you want more production out of your offense, but this is the kind of game where you don't want it to be too fast because you want to sort of keep your defense off the field as much as you can. How do you balance those two things?
Yeah, I think it's a very astute observation, critically important, and it's not what we do anyway. We want to, in the event that we can, we want to control the ball, and control the clock, and control the field. Field position is a huge piece for this model. Time of possession is a huge piece for this model. Not this game, just the model we've put together. Time of possession is a big piece. Field position is a big piece. That when you play in a game like this becomes even more critical.
A quarter way through your season, an optimist would say you're one play from being 3-0. A pessimist would say you're one play away from being 0-3. So which one are you?
I'm definitely an optimist. And there's enough evidence of it in game. In game 1, game 2, and game 3. So, and not only the good plays, but really as you look at the plays that are correctable from a staff standpoint, staff do a better job. Some plays that are correctable, players execute this basic fundamental better. The games didn't have to be that interesting. So to me, and I'm a realist, I'm an optimist, I'm a realist. So as I look at them critically, I think I'm more inclined to say we're closer to a play away from 3 now. Yeah.
When you do the corrections then for every game,
Yes.
are they the same corrections or are they just different? Mistakes aren't being repeated from week to week?
So many things in all 3 phases. To say a blanket statement that the mistakes are not being repeated is not probably accurate, but I think the guys do a good job of being very serious about what we're all saying to each other and all focused on, and then they go out and work on it. So yeah, very few mistakes continue to persist and be repeated. I see more evidence of something else that needs to get corrected than this same thing over and over again. I see much less evidence of that.
You said after the game that in practice you prepared to start fast and you didn't start fast.
Well, it did.
Is
It
the
did.
yeah. is the goal to kind of do the same thing, try to
It
do
is.
what we can, whatever we can to try to make the first quarter
It
go
is.
smoother?
It is, absolutely, absolutely. But we did, you know, we were able to accomplish something in 2 phases that we hadn't. You know, we went right out, we went 3 and out. We went right out, we had a beautiful kick. Beautiful kick. Went right out, went 3 and out. So there was some stuff there that, from a performance standpoint and a unit standpoint, in ST and the defense, where we really got what we wanted. You know, you had the field position flipped, you had the ball, you know, and energy in a crowded stadium and an electric environment, and then it just couldn't quite get moving there. So we'll just keep trying to look for ways to tweak structurally the day to day to see about, you know, getting that moving, and it will.
Last season,
So much attention's been talked about their offense, but their defense is good at 480 yards and 38 points a game. They played a couple of pretty good teams lately, but how do you evaluate their overall defense and maybe what their strengths are?
Yeah, like anything else, there's a challenge to just getting started in the program, and they have a really good defensive staff and a really strong defensive system. They've played great defense. There culturally, Syracuse has traditionally always played great defense, and then coupled with the staff, they're dating all the way back to Western Illinois, and on to Bowling Green, and now Syracuse. They play great defense. They've been nationally ranked. The staff has been nationally ranked, you know, many times at different universities. So they're going to be well coached, and they're going to continue to develop week to week. So I would anticipate, and you can see it between game 2 and 3, the incredible growth made in a lot of areas. And I would anticipate the same level of growth between game 3 and 4.
last season you guys had a bit of a problem getting blocked. This season you've already gotten 2 yourselves. Is that anything to coaching it up, or is that you got 2 guys, Foley and Mike, who are adept at that, or is that?
Yeah, both. You know, I think that the group is the group that works on the field goal block team. You know, has made a real point of emphasis of it, and done a real good job of drilling down on the fundamental techniques to get it done. We did more fundamental individual work on those techniques than we had in the past. And there's just a general belief with that group that they can change the game at any point, no matter what the circumstances are. And at every kick, the game's on the line. So there's not a field goal that's more important than a long field goal isn't more important than a short field goal. A short field goal is not more important than a PAT. You know, if you got a chance to block a PAT and win the game 7-6, we're all for it.
Anything else?
What are your thoughts on Michael Myers, on the field, off the field? It seems like he's been
A+. He is a surprise. I've always enjoyed him. I love being on the team with him because he's animated and he's funny, but he's tough. He's a tough guy with character. You know, I like that. What surprised me is how good and strong a leader he is. He's a magnetic personality, so he's got a lot of friends and a lot of people that like him, and you want to be around him because he's magnetic. You know, it's fun and funny, but the moments where when he talks, everyone is quiet and listen to him. That's another level. So his play speaks for itself, but it's always been that way. I mean, he's been impacting the games for a long time. He's a hard guy to push around, or maybe even an impossible guy to push around, and a real threat to make plays and disrupt plays in the interior of all offenses on any level. So he has ability at that level, and just really has turned into maybe, and I'm sure he was always this way. I just got a chance to see him. A really great leader, really great leader.
Are there any updates on Hopkins and Stevens, or are they still day to day, or are you hoping?
Yeah, like I said, I think I'm going to go with what everybody else is doing, and just day to day.
I'm more hopeful that they can play this week, I just think more last week.
You know what I mean? I don't have one opinion one way or the other. Thank you, guys.